Ladies and gentlemen of Ballet International and general audience who is watching this interview on YouTube channel, uh, everybody is welcome today to watch a wonderful interview with Mr. Anthony W. Johnson, who is at the moment in Los Angeles. And what time is it now in Los Angeles?
It's 10 o'clock. Yeah, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
AM in the morning.
And here in Rome is 7 p.m. So you will see that the name that appears on the screen of Mr. Anthony W. Johnson is Franco Sama. His computer friend he's using this computer. So Anthony, may I call you Anthony directly?
Yes.
You don't mind?
Perfect. I don't mind.
So Anthony, how did you start ballet? At what age?
I was late, around 17 years old. And it was by chance. I've dreamed about being a ballet dancer since I was I was 8 or 9. I used to run around doing ballet in my mind, and I got teased about it, but I never thought it would ever happen because I grew up in a neighborhood that was very poor. It was Black, it was urban, and nobody even knew what ballet was. I just happened to see it on PBS channel, and I was running around.
Which town was it? In Los Angeles?
No, I was in Chicago Heights. I had just moved there with my mother from Indiana, and we moved to Chicago Heights, me and my brothers and sisters. And then we eventually moved to Joliet, Illinois. And but by the time I was 17, I was in Memphis in high school, and I received a scholarship auditioning for a theater program, a college theater program, and I had to dance, and they gave me a scholarship. So they gave me and I got a chance to go and study ballet. That's the beginning of it, how it started. I didn't think I was going to pursue ballet as a career. I thought I would be doing what I also do is theater and Broadway, that kind of thing. But ballet, I was really good at it, more so than most, and things took off from there. I got other scholarships with Russian teachers, and my whole life changed from there.
Yeah. And but when you start ballet at 17 is completely different than when you start at 10 or 11.
Yes.
The physique is already much stronger, and you are not supple or flexible like a young student. So did you had any physical difficulty working in ballet, like pied dans la main and stretching and
No, because I was a cheerleader and a gymnast. I did like tumbling, and I was really flexible already going in it. I ran track. That was the reason why I got a scholarship. When I went into ballet, my legs can do things that shouldn't be able to do at someone who never had ballet. And so they were already impressed with me, at that, where I was developed in sports with ballet. So it was just a matter of sacrifice, like real sacrifice. My teacher eventually, only thing I had a weakness was my heel. I had my feet pointed really well, but I was sickle. So my heel wouldn't come forward. And so my teacher, it was different back then than it is today. My teacher broke my ankles so that my heel would come forward and lock them into place. It was the best thing that ever happened, because once that happened, my line, I could see the line. I could see where I was how things could progress. And my whole life changed from that point on. Yeah.
So how was the impact with your teachers and you? I mean, were your teachers explaining, when you are young, you are 10 years old, the teacher is explaining the movements and the enchaînement, everything in this total. I mean, you had to work with double effort in progressing this your technique.
Yes, I had to. It was also education, so I had to pass all these syllabus. So I had to study not as my teachers felt that because I was Black or African American, that it was going to be an uphill battle. So in order to offset that, they were pretty ruthless, I would say. I think they meant well, but I stayed at the bar for a year and a half. I never went to center, so it was hard because I had to learn everything at the bar or floor bar, and I was not able to go to the center. But I had to pass Cicchetti syllabus, I had to pass the RAD, I had to pass the Vaganova syllabus, and I had to study constantly. And my teachers also were of the notion that my brain, one thing that I did have over most dancers is I can memorize anything. If you hand me a book, I could like read it and have it and tell you back all the words. So I had an impressive brain. So my teachers would make me sit down and learn choreography without dancing first. But I do remember when I went to the center for the first time, and I was so angry in the beginning because I wanted to dance, but she was like, "No, you're not going to do that." But when she finally said, "You're going to go to the center," and I remember the other students were staring at me, and they were wondering, because they weren't paying attention to me. They used to tease me, like one day maybe you'll make it or you'll do something, and they were way more advanced at the time. But when I got to center, something happened because my teacher said, "Releve, passe, promenade on releve, on the oar." Then she said, "Don't come down, stay up, promenade on the dos." Then she said, "Développe en avant, devant." And I did promenade on the oar, promenade, and she did everything. Alors second, derrière, and switch, soutenu, the other side, on releve, everything. And she said, "Thank you." And she called me AJ at the time. "AJ, for demonstrating the next exercise." And I watched all those dancers stumble. They could not do the exercise. And then she made a point. That's why you train, why I have Anthony doing this at the bar. You go back to basics. You always train. You always practice. And it changed my life because I could do something that the advanced dancers were struggling. They were supposedly advanced, struggling. But that led me to more scholarships with Russian teachers, with Cuban teachers. And I just somehow, it's uncanny because some people died. A lot of teachers, and the time I came up in the early 80s and stuff, AIDS was a big thing. And I was studying not just ballet at the time, I was studying jazz and contemporary. It was what called modern back then. And all these teachers that I was training with were passing. And that was really, really challenging, So, but my later I was dancing everywhere. I mean, Atlanta, ballet, gosh, where was I at? I was at International Ballet Rotaru, but I also was a theater guy too. So I was doing theater and winning a best actor, all these kind of things. And then I would go jump in the ballet. But really when it became true ballet was when I went back to Chicago. And that's when my whole life, as far as like how I understood it, and where my trajectory was going to go, shifted. I was auditioning for some companies there, and I was with a teacher named Warren Conover. And I was taking his class, and he was leaving to go to North Carolina School of the Arts. And he pulled me aside and said, "You're a fabulous dancer. I hope someone tells you that. You shouldn't be doing this, what you're doing. You need to audition for real companies, for real things. You're that good. So don't I know you're nervous about it, but you're definitely ready. And at the time, there was a teacher named Larry Long there, and there was another teacher from the opera, a ballet master from the opera, and he did choreography there. And one of the students that was in class with me, she comes up and says, "You should go to the opera, the Lyric Opera Chicago." And there were no Black people ever at the Lyric. So I was like, I'm not gonna go to the Lyric Opera and embarrass myself. And she's like, no, you need to go. You could get into you can get in. And I went, okay. So she gave me his number. I called him. His name is Kenneth von Heideke. And he said, come on over to the school. You have to take class. I'll tell you after class. So I get there and I don't know, there was like 60 men. I thought I was gonna be the only one. And he says, I'm picking 2 people for the opera. And I was like, okay. And so I started doing a class, and we were with these young girls at the time, and they were pretty fabulous themselves. And I started listening to what he was saying, and he was talking about music and Verdi, and he was really into all this stuff. And I had studied it in college. So I was like, oh my God, my background and all this stuff that I never thought I would be using was helpful. Minuet, Shadas, all the different things. And I noticed that the other men were stuck in style. Whether it was a Russian school, Cicchetti, whatever it was, they were stuck in style. And he had a specific style. And he would say, do this, and I would do it. Whatever he said, I just did what he said. And at the end, he said, okay, I picked 2 guys. And he points to you, Mr. Johnson. Am I correct? And I go, yes. And I was like, and he picked another guy named David. And we went into the office. He had a contract. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he said, one of you will be a soloist and one of you will start, from scratch. And then hopefully one of you both become soloists with the opera. And that's exactly what happened. And he said, I want to take you under my wing. I think you're special. And I said, okay. And I basically was with him, forever, for a long time. I mean, I can do Romeo. I mean, not just the opera, Samson and Delilah, whatever. He had a ballet company as well. So I did the ballet, then I went to opera, ballet, opera. And I toured with him and he changed my life. And I remember going back to my teachers eventually, and they looked at me and said, how? You were a jumper and a turner and you could do all these amazing tricks. I was a gymnast. I could do all these amazing tricks. But they said, oh my God, it's ballet. It's all there. The épaulement, everything is there. And I was like, my mentor took me under his wing, and
well, it's nice when you find someone who takes care about you and takes you under his wings, and that kind of person helps you to grow up in the career, which is very important. And today it's very rare to find people like that,
Yes, it is.
People who direct a ballet company who are affectionate to the ballet dancers. Because today, unfortunately, ballet dancers are more like machines. They are not dancers. And
right.
But there must be also a sort of humanity between the director and the dancers. If a sort of feeling, you can understand a dancer just even if you don't talk with the dancer, you just understand.
Yes. See, that's what I had with my teachers. I even some of the Russian teachers, I remember doing double entrelacé, and the way it was a guy, his name is Shamil Yagurin. He was the principal coach of the Bolshoi, and he had come to America and he was coaching us and setting some choreography, and he picked me. And I was like, okay. And I couldn't do the double entrelacé. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. And he said one thing, écarté. I was like, oh, and I went and did it on the first try. I was like, oh my God. And we connected. And so certain teachers have a way of saying things to you that they don't really have to say much, it's just, it's a connection. And it was amazing. I'm blessed. I work with great teachers. And then I trained many dancers that went on to Béjar, Alvin Ailey, National Ballet of Canada. All these, I have so many famous, well-known principal dancers. The Ailey company that I trained them, and I trained them all differently.
Yeah.
Because how my teachers taught me, I so many ideas or thought process of what ballet, like one girl could literally turn her leg perfectly underneath, and another girl needs to have a different angle. They'll put a bra, maybe somebody's arms are shorter, they need to lengthen, somebody needs to do this. But I also, because of the ballet, there are different music, different techniques to each ballet. So if you're doing Nutcracker versus Giselle, they're so different in style. You have to train for that ballet. You can't go, oh, I'm so good at this one type of ballet, then you go switch to the other, you can get injured. So I kind of, because I understand the music and understand the choreographer of because of my teacher, the process of doing something, it aided me as a teacher myself when I'm coaching dancers or teaching them. I remember a girl, the Moscow Ballet came here. I was teaching a class, and the girl she says that the guy was doing pirouettes with her, and she goes, something's wrong, something's wrong. I don't understand, I'm so good. And everybody's coming around me, and I'm like, and all I did was put my hand on one part. I said, well, first I said, Tondu, place your weight on your supporting leg. You are so in between that you don't know your supporting leg. So you need to shift your weight. And all I did was move her weight over, and her pirouettes came back, and she just started crying, She said, how did you do it? She thought it was magic. I said, no, it's a lot of school, a lot of training, a lot of teaching, I'm just looking at you. I know it's not a rocket science. It's all there,
So in the ballet companies and in the schools where you have been frequenting, were you also working with the Balanchine style?
Yes, very much. That's what Kenneth did. Kenneth did Balanchine. And it was very clear about the approach as opposed to Vaganova. What happened with Balanchine for me, it was much easier because I had jazz dance. I had other styles of dancing in my body, in my language. But what it also, Balanchine did was give me a longer line. I would say my line, everything was allongé. So everything is, it stretched me. So I could create a different, I knew how to audition well because of it. Because I knew if I was going to there's a look to a dancer, and Balanchine understood the look of a Balanchine, that look. So even if you're a good jumper or turner, if you had Balanchine, when you line everybody up, I look tall. But I wasn't tall, but my line, because of the Balanchine technique, allowed me to look longer than I was,
Yes. And so when did you start teaching?
So I started teaching probably fairly quickly when I was still training. I was spotted in Florida. I was working with the Backstreet Boys. So I was taking every job I can get, but and I was teaching in a school, basic ballet classes, even though I was still training. And I got spotted by a modern choreographer who had a performing arts school, and then the School of the Arts saw me teaching, and they brought me in, and I had a way with students. but I have been teaching since I was 8 as a academic. So I was what people call a savant. I could do things that most kids couldn't do, but I could also not do things that kids could do. I couldn't tie my shoes. You couldn't put me on an escalator. I can't drive a car now, even still. I have some disabilities. But in the academic world, I was extremely smart and didn't know that that was a special thing. And luckily I did have teachers who got that, and they had me tutoring since I was 8. So I was constantly teaching. I don't think there was not a day in my life that I wasn't a teacher, some form. So when my teacher, I was teaching even before I was even professional, like totally professional. I was getting jobs. I always got jobs as a dancer, probably since, even before dancing, before even a ballet class, I was getting jobs as a dancer. So, because I was an actor. And I definitely remember a moment, there was a teacher named Gretchen Warren. She used to be American Ballet Theater teacher, mistress ballet, and she ended up taking over the school in Florida. And she had me in class. I got a scholarship. She had me in class, and she's very academic. And she just was like very tough on me. Like, I don't think you really should be a ballet dancer. There are no Black people in ballet. I think you should think about something else. Well, my cynical side came out, and we were doing the exercises, and I pretended I was Baryshnikov. I just was pretending in the exercise, Baryshnikov. And I'll never forget her face, because when I finished, everybody stopped and they went, "Oh my God, he got possessed. He's a ballet dancer. What did you say?" Gretchen was like, "I don't know how you did that. How did you do that?" And I started giggling in my mind going, oh, they need to see something. I was, like you say, a machine, like do this, do this. They need to see something that they recognize as ballet, not so much the steps being perfectly clean, And so my acting ability allowed me to play a lot of different characters. And I just changed my life. I mean, I got to do all these character ballets. And I remember in a Nutcracker in Chicago, I got a standing ovation, and I'm a Black guy, and I'm playing the Chinese. I'm Chinese, because I have the split jumps, right? So, but as an academic, I wanted to make a statement in that choreography. Unbeknownst to my teachers or my Kenneth or anybody like that, I thought China is an interesting country, and people might look at them as little or whatever, and they smile all the time, but behind that, they are ferocious. They can do amazing things. So I told the orchestra, I want to go slow when the jumps start, and then I want to build the jumps. So dun, 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 split, da, da. And so I had made the first part very comical, where everybody was giggling. But then when the jumps, final, he increased it to 32 jumps. He changed the choreography, but in this moment was 16 split jumps. I go slow, and I had such a high jump that I built the jumps, and I told the audience in my brain to rise. And all of a sudden, as I was jumping, the audience started rising up and giving me the standing applause. And then I was in the newspaper because they said I was the Michael Jordan of ballet. And it was incredible. But I do take in that other history and all that into my work. It's not like I teach ballet. When I go in, I give the history, I give the approach, what was happening at the time. Why did this choreographer decide that this was the moment to express himself, so that the dancers aren't just doing just technique, that they understand that this is a rich history that comes from a long line, whether it's from France with the king and queen, or courtship and the etiquette of ballet, to where it ultimately, you know, with Nijinsky, there was all these changes that happened, and I want my students to understand that there's an ongoing evolution that took place.
Yeah.
And then when it came to the Americas, you know, why that America chose this way of ballet, not just like, okay, you're just dancing 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, let's go. I don't want my students to be ignorant, you know.
Yes. But compared to 25 years ago, now the black dancers, I think they are more how do I say, they have more chance to be integrated in ballet companies, because I see that there are a lot of talented dancers who are not white.
Right. That happened, I believe, too, because of the Cuban influence. So I got a chance to train with Laura Alonso, and their approach allowed, I don't know, black or darker skinned dancers to show off, because what black dancers do have, and what I did have at the time, was athleticism.
Yeah.
And Baryshnikov and the Russian dancers were showing off that athleticism. So it gave black dancers that opportunity to, especially male. The female dancers, there were in America several that just wasn't going to get, unless they went to Dance Theater Harlem, they weren't going to get the roles that they probably should have gotten, because some of them were pretty impressive. But I was the first in opera at the Chicago Lyric Opera. That opened the door to other black dancers, some of which I introduced to the opera.
Yeah.
But I feel like things are changing, but also it's still difficult. I go to Canada and I don't see black dancers. I saw one, but there's this uncanny thing about the culture of that I have to accept and understand that sometimes coaches or people believe, and I can understand this, don't hire the person because of the color of their skin, which is what I believe. You know, I don't think you should hire anybody by the color of your skin. But what that means, because they're forced into a situation, they might hire someone less talented to prove the point on purpose. So instead of getting the really good black dancer, they get the one who's less talented and make a point, well, this is why we don't do this. And that sort of like racism in a different way, using it in a way and so I have a student named Alana Archibald, and she was very tall, and she was struggling in America. She was a kid at the time, and I told her she should go to Bejar and try to get into school. And everybody was pretty upset. I'm teaching at the high school for the arts at the time, but her mother was like, yeah, why not? Let's try. And they go, and she gets into school. She eventually gets into the company, and then she eventually becomes principal. She just left the company after many years. She's in her 30s, and she wanted to model. So she's become a model and a dancer. So she's dancing in Amsterdam. She just sent me some videos of her dancing on the new project, and she's getting a chance to explore. In LA, ballet is, we have ballet dancers here. They come from all over. But we are also a city where everything constantly is new and changing, and people are expecting something. They don't want to see what they've seen before. Yeah. So that in my world, I've been able to take ballet in places, even at the bar. A simple bar exercise, I've been able to entrench myself in what would ballet be like. Not change it into contemporary. Let's stick with classical, but if it's going to evolve, what would this world want to see as ballet? So I started incorporating more Cambrai. I started incorporating more, it's very, I would say, old, like an old RAD, I would incorporate more épaulement. I would elevate the steps so that character dance became a little bit more part of the bar work as opposed to something afterthought. And so it really did shift how people look at, especially when people write me and they say, what style is that? It's gorgeous, but what style? And I go, it's not, it's a evolution of where we were to where we are now. I am saddened by the fact that the corps de ballet, which was so ingrained into me, that everybody moves as one.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of soloists doing corps de ballet as opposed to a corps de ballet. And there is a beauty of then there's a technique to creating a corps de ballet. Not everybody's going to look exactly alike, but there's a way to coach that they all look like one corps de ballet.
Yes.
Today, people are more interested or have seen, especially here in America, more soloists, principal. Everybody try to dance like back to solo. It's all trickery. And so I always love when I see a company, whether it's a Royal Ballet or another company, really ingrain and make dancers appreciate the corps. What I think when you are Black and you're put in the corps, it seems to be am I ever going to make, I'm never going to, this is where I'm going to be at the rest of my life. That's not real. If you are challenging yourself, and if you are constantly growing as an artist, not just as a dancer, but as an artist, you can't help but shine. You can't help. It becomes a moment where you don't belong in the corps. No matter how much you look like everybody else or whatever, you don't belong. So, but I think it's vital that every dancer does the corps.
Yeah.
If they're going to be a teacher or run a company, you have to maintain balance. And by doing that, humility is a part of the art. It's not something to be shunned upon. Having a humble spirit makes you a great artist over time.
Yeah.
If you're constantly fighting to do a jump or a turn to show off, you're going to fall very quickly in real life. And I had a teacher a couple of summers, I trained with a lady named Irina Kopakova. And she used to make me laugh because she would go, what's that? What's that? That's not in the ballet. And everything was in Russian. The only English she would say was, what's that? That's not in the ballet. We were like, oh my God. So, but she could dance even as an older woman, and you cry. She did a plie exercise, and we thought it was a dance that we had to learn. We didn't know it was actually the plie exercise. And she said, dancing is dance. It's not an exercise. The minute you move, it's dance. There's music. Everything is dance. And it's not just like, okay, are my feet pointed perfectly? Am I heel forward? Is my legs stretched? Am I pulled up? Those are possible, but dancing is still dance. And the minute you stop dancing, that's when the minute you stop hearing that or doing that, then you're no longer a dancer. Yeah. Grow old like wine, she said. She would say, like wine, as it ages, you get better. You're young. You're not a dancer. You're young. You don't know what dancing is. Wait till you get older and you'll see, that sometimes you don't need to move so big.
Yeah.
I agree with taught us old wise things, and I miss. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said I agree with.
Yeah, I was just
say that you must whatever you do.
Yeah.
You dance. You don't practice, but you dance. Whatever you do.
You dance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So before you mentioned,
and I love that about the.
before you mentioned something very interesting, just to highlight that to the audience who is watching your interview. There is a great difference between, because sometimes people don't understand what is the difference between athleticism, classical ballet, and gymnastic.
Right.
So today, people, they tell you ballet now, it's too much, there is too much gymnastic, there's too much acrobatic, which, of course, I agree with them. But today, unfortunately, in a certain way, ballet has evolved, you know, in high legs, high développés, extreme cambres, arabesque penché like we have never seen before. So, which is lovely to look at, but is not, this is not ballet. And people they don't understand the difference between gymnastic, between athleticism, and between the artistry of ballet. So what, in your opinion, with which one would you start teaching that to young students?
I come from the background that art and entertainment combine. I am a musician, so there are times when a song is sung simply, and there's a time when you hit in the opera the high note. That there's an exhilaration of something for the audience to go, wow, I cannot do that.
Yes.
So what's happened in ballet is because of Rudolf Nureyev, who I think was one of the greatest choreographers. You might disagree, but I do think he's one of the greatest choreographers. He pushed dancers in ways that they didn't know they could ever achieve. He, you know, from Sylvie Guillem, who was, she went on stage and everybody, it didn't matter if you're a layman or someone who was a high, who did ballet, you either got excited by her or jealous because of her extreme. But Nureyev was the same as a man. So, but no one said anything. He did all these crazy tricks and jumps. No one ever said he was sports or anything. They went excited because he's a man. A girl, on the other hand, who does something that's lovely and more exciting can be strewed as like, you're not really doing what you should be doing. Now, the choreographer's job is to maintain balance. So when it's all gymnastic, when it's all like trickery, then you can't hear, it's like a song. You can't hear the lyrics. You can't hear the music, and you can't hear anything else. So there has to be like this moment underneath the undercurrent of the story, that so that when the explosive moment happens, it's also emotional. It's not just trickery all the way through, because you don't get the emotion. If you can, in a magic trick, one of the things Copperfield did is he would tell a story about when he was a child. Whether it was true or not, you went on the journey with him. He's a child. He never saw the snow. He dreamed of it. His parents moved and he was asleep, and he wakes up and she says, come to the window. And it was snowing. And at the moment when he's saying that, he's tearing up and the snow starts coming from his hand. And it's magic. But it's magic on many levels. Dance is the same way. Choreography is the same way. It has many layers. When it's shallow, it becomes shallow when people only think this is what everybody wants to see. That's entertainment.
Yeah.
And so the balance between art and entertainment is a fragile place. But they do, if you're smart enough, like Rudolf Nureyev, who can create art, but then entertain us at the same time with his class, with his choreography, with himself, then we can start to appreciate the evolution of dance on both sides, where it's the audience or the teacher. Yeah. If you're only teaching penché 6 o'clock, you know, then and a dancer, you say, okay, I need this dancer to just do arms, port de bras. I just need only port de bras, and they can't do it because they just tricks. Yeah. Then they're not a dancer yet. They're just a gymnast. You know, so but as a child, as my kids I train, that is taught from day one. I don't look at the kids different than myself. I look at them as future artists. I tell my students, I'm a student and you're a student. I'm a teacher and you're a teacher. We are equal because we're in the same place at the same time. And I hope that when you move or something, I learn something new from who you are. So I treat them as adults, as kids. I don't do Mary Had a Little Lamb dancing, you know, Dolly Dinkle. I don't do that. But what I do is increase their imagination in a different way, a more smart way than what's been told to them, you know. I allow them to feel the music. I put the music on and say, move, dance, go around the room, jump around, do what I do allow that freedom of spirit, because if you can't dance from yourself, then how are you going to dance for others?
It must become something natural for the child to express themselves. So they must also, because there are a lot of children who are shy, and the only way to cure that is to give them that freedom of expressing themselves through the movements of dance. So have you ever tried to choreograph?
Oh, I choreograph all the time. That's my job mainly, as what I do mostly with my company, Ballet Magique. I fuse different art forms together. Whether it's wushu, which is the Chinese martial arts. It's high level martial arts, so it's not like kickboxing or anything. Not everybody can do it. You need extreme flexibility. You just need a lot of being able to move your body in ways that a normal martial arts guy could move. So it's considered like ballet is the highest form of dance. Wushu is the highest form of martial arts. So it actually blends itself together to teach the martial arts, those wushu guys ballet, which they have no choice to take. Because in China, you know, you do all of it. You don't do just one thing. Then teaching.
When did you create your own ballet company?
1999. I started Ballet Magique, and it was a frustrating process because everybody wanted me to go to Vegas, and I was saying, it's not a spectacle. I tell stories because that's what I like the story ballets. I like someone to go on a journey and then they experience something. It's not just choreography. Like, I was sad because my mother would take me to a show when I was a little boy. And at that time, there were a lot of story ballets, and just everything took me on a journey. When I got into dance and I had to switch only to tights and a leotard, I was very sad because it was balancing and different things. And then what I was doing story, because it was expensive to build the sets and all the stuff. And I had to just dance. And I was so sad. So when I got to the opera, that changed for me. I got the sets, I got the costumes, and I love that, you know. And so in Ballet Magique, I wanted to create something that in the beginning, very raw, very real, but have all the show, all the costumes and wigs and everything. And everybody's like, Vegas. I was like, oh my God, this is not what I'm doing. So I got better at it, and I got better and better. Now, I did go in college. I was forced, I would say forced now. I probably was like, I shouldn't say forced now. It's more an opportunity. In order to keep my scholarships, because I got caught sneaking over to the music department and taking secret classes, and I got caught over at the theater. And I was supposed to only be dance. That was my scholarship. But I was sneaking around, and I got caught. So, oh my God, if they find out, my schedule doesn't matter. I don't have to be. And the teachers got together and they started speaking and talking to me, and they said, "Okay, we keep your scholarship. You can go take these other classes if you become a director, and if you become a choreographer." And I went, what? And I go, oh no, backfire. But it turned out to be incredible because I did have that brain where I could see everything, learn everything very quickly. And I just remember I was really good at choreography. And I remember my teacher saying, you're really good with a large group. Can you do something with 3 people or 5 people? And I took on the challenge, and it was hard. And then I got better. And, now when people come to a Ballet Magique show, the curtain opens and everybody claps, even before anybody starts to move. And that's what the opera, the ballet brought, in a more laid back way,
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to bring ballet back to the layman, as it is such a high art for very wealthy clientele. Not everybody can go, especially here, go afford to go to the ballet. So I would say I was able to excite people and give a ticket that they could go see, so that when they got to see another company, they might do like my mother did, save up the money, go and see and have an appreciation. And I think that the appreciation needed to happen here in LA, because there's so much entertainment here. And how do we appreciate something that's been around for a long time, when we're in a city where everybody wants something different and new?
Yes.
And it's worked. It really has shifted Los Angeles,
Yes.
I would say. People, the choreographers, I didn't shun other choreographers, appreciate what I'm bringing to the table. And my students, no one can say anything because they are exceptional.
So
and they can be
in your ballet company, Ballet Magique, how many teachers do you have? How many dancers? And I mean, how is the stuff?
Well, the structure of Ballet Magique it's changed over the years. It started out with me auditioning dancers and teaching, and I would pick dancers, handpick them, and then I would create work on those dancers, like a normal artist around the city who says, okay, let me do a work, let me try something and create something. And so that's how it began. And I noticed that I was getting dancers from everywhere, like more ethnic, Black, Cuban, Chinese, everybody that wanted to do something and felt like they were missing out were coming to me, including Russian dancers. I'm doing a movie right now. I'm directing a film called Alexis Colette. I have a fabulous Russian dancer in it named Yadar Young. He's won numerous awards. He danced for the ballet in Russia, and he's really young. And he loves my work and said, oh my God, if I could dance, if I could do that, my whole life would change. So I get dancers who want to explore where they could go, or dancers who say, I want to be in the English National Ballet or something, and they go, I can't get in. What is wrong? Is it me? Is it them? Is this? And then I train them and they get in, and it's just, and I go, no, you have to understand what they're looking for. It's an appreciation for the company itself, not a name. And I try to get the dancers to understand that. You want to go to ABT. Why? Why do you want to go to American Ballet Theater? Why? Oh, because this. And I said, that's shallow. Do you know what works they do? You know what ballets they do? Do you understand them? Can you dance them? They don't know anything. There's no, even in there's no appreciation. It's just, I want the job. And so I kind of bring people down to earth. At the same time, I inspire them to do their own thing and create and grow. I think that if we don't do that, one day we'll look up and there won't be any ballet anywhere.
Yes.
So we have to do what they did in the past. They evolved. And right now we're in a really strange time. And yes, I am frustrated that I go to a ballet and there's no corps de ballet and it's all tricks. Like we just talked. Oh, this dancer's just doing tricks. They don't even know why the tricks are there. And I as a director, want to, and I also am the point that the dancer has no right to say anything too. You are a dancer, dance. dance, you know, and it's your job to make the choreography come to life. I don't care what it is. It's your job to go through that experience. So I come from both places, yes, but I have to look at how I want to approach the world. I want the art of ballet because that's what makes it not TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody think they can get up and dance, TikTok, put on Instagram, and it's like they thinking it's. I said no. It's you're making it hard for the people who are really loving and doing this with everything they got and sacrifice. So my work has to be in a way where when they look at it, the layman can't do it. They know I want to do it. One day I want to take the class, but if we keep it, bring it down to the same level, it's like a person when the camera came out for the artist who paints.
Yeah.
And they took the picture and they go, well, what do I do now? They can get a real picture right then and there. No, you get better as an artist. You get better and you go back to the basics and you go and see what is something that's inside someone's soul, not something that you just watch. It has to touch people. That's what art does. It goes beyond the body, beyond the mind. It goes into the spirit. And so work has to evolve to that place or it's going to be this TikTok phenomenon and people will go, I don't think I need to go to classes. I can just do this, you know? And so my goal is to shift the balance back.
Classes are really the essential food for the body. You know, when you miss
subtle, I miss something. Yeah.
Yes, when you miss your training,
yes,
you cannot dance without doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Proper training.
It's
how many dancers do you have in your ballet company?
So right now, I started creating work based on what I wrote as a writer. So I had an opportunity to, at first I had about 16 dancers constantly, at least. And then I got an opportunity to go to Disney. And Disney was like, Anthony, you're really good at creating things in your mind. You need IP. It needs to be written down. Take your work and write it out, and it will have more value. So I started writing my ballets and writing my stories. And then the story would allow me to choose which dancers I needed for that story.
Mm.
You know, what type of dancer I would need. And so, so I got very picky over a period of time where I was like, this is what there's a difference between doing an entertainment show in LA like the World Choreography Awards and doing, even though it's Ballet Magique at World Choreography Awards, where I could have up to 32 dancers because it's got a lot of money to that and they want to see something entertaining, as opposed to I'm doing a show at the Alex Theater, Ballet Magique at the Alex Theater. It's more poignant, you know, maybe 5 to 10 dancers. Because the money's coming from me. I pay for the theater, and I want the audience to really go into a different world. Ballet Magique can do corporate events. It's like a thing where I'm hiring dancers. Say I can't make a living. I can't make a living. But with me, they are able to make a living, get green card, get everything, because I live in Los Angeles where there's a movies, and we get motion capture. So there are dancers that can get a job that'll pay them a certain amount of money and then go dance around the country and come back, because movies pay a lot more money. And so they might not necessarily be dancing the movie, but motion captures when they put the thing on your body and dancers can move in different ways. So I give people opportunities in my company that, because it's diverse, to explore all the ways ballet can be used as opposed to proscenium. You know, so my dancers constantly are working. They pay our company and they get hired out too. It's not just dance for me. When people come, if they have the talent that I think can make it here, I help them with the visa. And nowadays I don't really struggle with that anymore. It's just like happening. Okay, yes, visa. There's no struggle because of the work I put out there.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of what you want in your life, I would say. And even with the companies, I feel like I'm in the movie business. Ballet Magique is a big part of the movie I'm doing. And I hope it inspires other dance companies to grow their work as opposed to it being I would say lost in translation to this generation. So there are ways that I think companies should mold with each other at times. I work with other choreographers. Not to separate and go like a company go, I'm bringing this choreographer in, I'm bringing this. I collaborate. We're going to work together. Let's see what comes of this. And when we're talking about Stefan, Dahl, I always reaching out to see how we can bring the community closer to one another as opposed to everybody separate from each other. And they're fighting for that audience. And I think if we come together a little bit more, it's going to entice the audience to want to come because they're going to go, whoa, what is this? What's going to happen? Multimedia stuff, people have been doing that since the 80s. I just think that for me, I feel like we should explore, the opera does something that the ballet doesn't do in some ways. The opera is so interesting because in ballet and opera is different than ballet and ballet. So when I'm at the opera, they have a clock. And you look at the clock and you know when to come out on the stage. You only follow the clock. It's not like a ballet where you hear the music and you go running out. It's the clock because they make sure everything is timed out, that way. But with the opera, you're able to understand the sophistication that I think today that ballet had. Even 20 years ago, it had. I think today everybody's fighting against TikTok and Instagram and all of this stuff, and they're fighting for something. And I'm saying, no, you don't need to do any of that. You need to go back to basics. You need to understand why ballet moves people. You're forgetting it. You're thinking it's athleticism. You're thinking it's the tricks. You're thinking it's this. Let's go back and find out what made people. I never forget this girl. I saw when I first saw ballet, it was magical already. Just going on a point shoe. Just the girl going on her toes from myself as a child was magical. We have to understand how the people see, not just, I think they think if I do this, then this will be this. And then they go, why is it not working? It's because, what are you saying? What is the point of your ballet? What is the point of Nutcracker?
You were talking about eventual collaboration. For instance, you have Mr. Stefan Dahl, who made an interview a few weeks ago, and he's a wonderful ballet teacher with a very strong technique. And also you have someone in Los Angeles who has made also an interview for Ballet International. Her name is Patsy Dunn. She is also in the movie.
Oh, yeah, she's an upper right. She is. Yeah, I know who she is. Yeah.
And she has been working with me at the same ballet company in South Africa. At the State Theatre, we were dancing in the same ballet company.
Oh, wow.
She left the company, then she went to United States. Now she's married to a movie actor, and I think his name is Sam Dobbins, if I'm not.
Yeah.
And both of them, and she also is a photographer. She's an excellent photographer. And so I think that for you, as an artistic director of Ballet Magique, you know, if you keep in mind all those important people like Patricia, like Patsy Dunn, like Stefan Dahl, and many other people that you find on your way, maybe one day this could help you, that Ballet Magique could become one of the greatest important ballet companies in United States. You know, maybe you could also create something much bigger than American Ballet or you know, National Ballet of Canada, or you must give time to time, but you must choose the right people. Because
Yes.
at least when you know the people, you say, this one would be good, that one is not good. That one is better, and that one has more skills, you know? And, you choose the people that are good for the idea that you are developing for your ballet company. And this is, I think, also a good tool that the audience will appreciate in the future,
Yes.
your ballet company. Because otherwise you become a standard ballet company, even if you
Yes.
only stories, even
Yeah.
if you hire the ballet dancers coming from everywhere, but you must choose the right person at the right time. You know, sometimes life gives you that opportunity and you wonder, why am I choosing, why I'm meeting that person? There must be a purpose, you know? So,
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
so
in my film, I brought in a guy named Tyrone Singleton. I
yeah,
don't know if you heard of him.
no,
Tyrone Singleton. He's a principal dancer for Royal Ballet Birmingham.
yes,
I brought him in, but I wanted to bring in someone that I knew from a long time ago. She danced when she was younger for this company called Giordano,
mm,
Gus Giordano. He was a fabulous jazz teacher, and he had a company in Chicago, of course. And I danced a little bit as an apprentice when I was younger. And I saw her, and she went on to take over the Royal Caribbean Cruises as choreographer. She established herself as a entertainment type of person, and choreography is fabulous. And I teamed her up with Tyrone and myself, and then of course my the guy I'm working with that's in the movie, Ildar in Russia. He also, even though he's 23, he has a mind of his own. So I wanted to explore what he brings to the table to excite the film, you know. And so I'm constantly you know, working with different artists now, as opposed to before when it was me, Ballet Magique, me, Ballet Magique, me, Ballet Magique. There was nobody else. And I have the means to. Sometimes you don't have the means, you know, to bring another person in.
yes,
I actually have the means now to grow, and I'm the film itself is a real movie. It's a very powerful story, and they say, according to the powers that be here in Los Angeles, if it's done well, it could change cinema. But
yeah,
I'm also a songwriter, and I am pushing music in a way that hasn't been done as well. So grabbing people like a Stefan or someone who's entrenched into their world, and then fusing them with someone else who's entrenched in another world of dance, and then with what I do, I think it's going to be really palatable and powerful.
yeah,
um and I do like what Stefan was. I have a love for ballet, and it will never change.
yeah,
As a Black man who's been through everything you can imagine when it comes to that world, and it's darkness and light, because it's both. um I never turned my back. I'm still teaching, I still train, I still help, I still coach, and but I'm also growing. I never stop learning. So as I keep on my journey, I feel like I just want this art form to survive in a way where it means something in a day of social media and what's happening. And I think that it's not about hiring somebody because they are Black or hiring somebody because they can do amazing tricks. It's very, that's a shallow way of getting to the truth. And fighting for the truth for me is being honest about the past and its amazing ability to make us strive to be great.
Yes.
And if we continue on the journey with ballet for the company as a unit, not as an individual, to be great, then we might hopefully achieve great things. And that's my goal, you know? And so I'm open to collaboration with many artists.
I am on the same line idea of yours, because the other day I was in contact with an important person of ballet, and so I said to that person, who is artistic director of a ballet company, and I said, in my opinion, as a ballet teacher, when I teach at the bar, I give a ballet class, I may have at the bar something like 40 ballet dancers, male and female dancers, ballet company class. But for me, they are all the same. There's no difference of the color of the skin, if they are the Chinese or if they are the Korean or if they are South American. The nationality does not exist. The religion does not exist. So we are all the same. We are ballet dancers. We are ballet artists. We are human beings who are sharing the love of ballet. And this a little bit is what I'm trying to transmit, to give as an idea in the group of Ballet International on Facebook. Because there are some people who in the beginning, they don't understand this point of view. So it's very difficult to respect, because not everyone is keen to say, well, no, Chinese are different. They have a different technique. They have a different way to work. No, India is not working very well in ballet. Northern Africa countries, Arab countries, they are not good in, they don't feel the music. You know, people give their own opinion, but because they don't know anything about ballet. When you are the ballet dancer, you are the ballet teacher, you understand the real value and the real love for ballet. So at least for me, but I think you are also in the same position, we are all the same.
All the same. I completely agree. You know, you mentioned Balanchine. I have the same birthday as George Balanchine. So I was a big fan of his. And he, I remember, I don't know what I was listening to, but he had, people think it was that, I don't know when it happened, but he had Black dancers. He has several Black dancers. And, you know, I mean, the famous is Arthur Mitchell, but he had others that were in his company. And people forget that there was a time where people were not looking at the color. Something happened because Balanchine had Black dancers and Cuban and Indian, because Maria Talchi, he had a whole kind of group of dancers. So I think we forget that the thing about ballet is that if it's done well, is so beautiful. And then beauty is in all of it. There's no color to that beauty. It's just beautiful, you know? And
this is
that's why
This is the magic of this beauty.
Yes, it's like one of those things where I don't know. I still have the kid side of me, and I have it with my students. When if I see a student evolve, and they end up with that spirit, because there's a spirit of ballet that has to get put into their body. There's a moment when they transition from class dance to, and it's not like what I was saying earlier, like acting. There's a moment where the spirit of ballet unites you.
Yes.
And everybody knows that spirit. And when it happens, it's like all you can do is sit back and you can't move and you just watch.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like where ballet is today, it has the opportunity to take over the psyche of mankind where we are, especially with the world state, the stuff that's going on. And people would love to be able to see something, escape and see something beautiful, like what that means, and what the human body can do and express. Because unlike people say, you know, which is the hardest of the art forms, the difference between ballet, and I'm saying ballet, not dance, ballet, and all the art forms, whether you play an instrument and you're an actor, you're a painter, whatever. With ballet, you have to be all of those. You have to be a painter. You have to be a musician. You have to be an actor. You have to be a dancer. You have to be a sports person in some ways. You have to be everything of art all at once, and you can't speak.
Yeah.
It's all through your head to your toes. And that's your only expression. You're the paintbrush and you're the painter. Both. You know, so it's definitely most difficult.
You become like Michelangelo, who creates, you're sculpting a statue. And
yes,
this is yes, I agree with this. I totally agree with this. Mr. Anthony Johnson, I see that in your words there is a lot of light. There is a lot of potential that, at least for me, you have to build much more and more and more and more, and give chance to your ballet company to be known in United States, but also in Europe. Have you ever toured in Europe?
I toured to Panama, not Europe, but I've taught in Europe. I'm pretty known in the ballet scene as a teacher. I do get invited to festivals, and mainly it's been United States, but through the film world, I'm probably going to be able to expose ballet to a bigger audience because the movie will be everywhere. It's got some stars to the film. It's the first film of its kind. It's elevated. It's action, thriller, fantasy, supernatural, drama, and the dance scene in the film is such at a high level that it will, in Ballet Magique, it's in it. It says Ballet Magique, the company is in the film. So I think it will expose people to say, I want to, like Black Swan did for Benjamin Millepied. And I felt that because I am blessed to do film, I can make people see and want to go. But I also hope that the film elevates the ballet companies to want to do, like that helps the world of dance internationally. Yes. So I do think that the time is right for Ballet Magique to really expose itself out there. We were doing quite well up until 2016. Unfortunately, my managers wanted Ballet Magique for themselves. And they tried to take it from me. I fought them and I won that lawsuit. Very blessed that I won the lawsuit. So I had to go, Ballet Magique had to go on hiatus. But in the interim, I was versatile. So my songwriting became pretty powerful, and the other arts that I was doing became my bread, what I was doing. And now, after I won the lawsuit, I have a way to put Ballet Magique. It put me in a way where I said, well, you want to see what Ballet Magique, I'm getting ready to expose it in a way where it could never be done on just a show level, or just a dance company, people locally going to see it, or touring even. The film industry allows it to be seen all at once. And I feel like it might help other ballet companies and writers to say, I want this company on my ballet, maybe on my movie, this other company, whatever it is, because they're doing some really great things. The next thing you know, you're getting more people involved. So I feel like the film industry, as much as the hurt what my managers were doing, it gave me the opportunity to take it into a whole nother realm that it just wouldn't go, until now. So.
Yeah, well, you never know. Maybe, with the project of the movies, you may challenge the world of ballet, because not many people can go to the opera house or to a theater to watch a ballet. They prefer to see the ballet on TV, or to buy the DVD and watch the ballet on the television or on the computer. But not many people can afford to go to the opera house, especially today, because life is getting expensive, not only United States, but everywhere in the world. Anthony, we are slowly reaching the end of our interview. And unfortunately, I'm very sad to tell you that we have reached the end of interview. I wish we could talk more and more and more and more forever. I hope that one day we shall meet, and maybe we can also collaborate to develop new ideas and projects.
Yeah.
We never know, because life is an opportunity for everyone to develop.
Yes.
But don't forget the people I have named you, about Stefan Dahl, about Patricia Dunn.
Yes.
And also there is another one who is very important, and he is from South Africa. His name is Vincent Hantam. He has been Vincent Hantam. And I will give you his link, and I will send also by email some works he has done. And maybe if you get in touch with those people, all of you, sharing each one their own experience, can develop something unique.
Yes, I would love that. That's what I'm about.
Because
I want to create new things,
Ballet is like a puzzle, puzzle game, the world of ballet. So putting the right pieces on the right way and on the good moment, you can create a wonderful artistic frame.
Yes.
But you have to find the right piece of puzzle. Otherwise you get the wrong one.
I've been there. I hear you. It's good. It's good.
So Anthony, I will send you the link of your interview that share with everyone that you wish to send by email, or on your Facebook profile, or the LinkedIn, and in order that everyone can listen to your message, because your message is very important, and what you have said so far, every word you have said, is really a key for ballet. Is an essential key of hope.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate doing this interview. And I hope that we collaborate too. Yes, that would be amazing.
We never know. Well, for me, in this moment, it's a little bit difficult, but we never know. Life is full of surprise. Sometimes, sometimes you think that you never know what is going to happen tomorrow. You know, the life is full of challenge, full of surprise. Today, we know that the world, the situation of the world is not so good, but maybe one day everything will come at the right place and everybody will be happy. I do hope it's going to happen.
Yes, me too.
Because especially for the world of ballet, dancers don't need war, don't need conflicts, don't need all this rubbish that we hear on TV, which is sadness, full of darkness. No, we don't need that. Ballet, the opposite, is full of joy, full of life, full of creation, full of creativity, whatever you want to call it, but it's full of positiveness that you have to build up every day. And you have to communicate that positiveness to everyone.
Yes, I agree. Wow, cool.
Dear Anthony, I wish to thank you. It was a real honor for me, especially, because what you have said, you have given me some positive input for myself.
Oh, thank you. Cool. Thank you. You have too for me. You know, yes, you have, and you put a spark to take on, what you're actually saying and actually do something about it. So that means a lot.
So you see, today with an airplane of traveling from one continent to another, there are no barriers. Everybody can travel, everybody can meet, and everybody can meet to develop new ideas. So
yes.
I do hope that one day you will be able to do that. So I wish you with all my heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre.
Let me conclude the interview for the audience. Ladies and gentlemen of Ballet International, I really wish to thank you for watching this beautiful interview held by Mr. Anthony W. Johnson, who is in Los Angeles, and he patiently has given his time, his precious time, to do this beautiful interview. So thank you, Mr. Anthony, again. You stay online a little minute.
Okay.
And thank you everyone for watching this. So one moment, I hope I'm not clicking on the wrong button.